What is going on, fam? Thank you very much for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about how to maintain a competitive edge for your business. Now, if you're a entrepreneur trying to hire really good people for your company, then you're going to want to pay attention because this video is designed specifically for you. But I do want to give you a little bit of a story on how I came across this particular book. This particular book is The 2020 Workplace: How Innovative Companies Attract, Develop, and Keep Tomorrow's Employees Today. If you want to maintain really good people with your workplace, what worked 100 years ago is not going to work now. Now, I was speaking to somebody who was 30, 40 years older than me, and he wanted somebody who was accountable. And I said, well, you kind of have to ensure that that person has a work ethic and the soft skill that he or she is accountable. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You can't teach accountability. They have to have that. But again, when you become an employer and you are taking care of someone else's paycheck, you do have a sense of responsibility to ensure that you can coach them, delegate them, manage them, lead them, and more importantly, set them up for success and not set them up for fail. But it's also dependent on the other person to be accountable for their actions. And that's going to play a really big key in today's video. And the spoiler alert is that if you are hiring somebody new for 2020, for your business, whatever the case may be, you need to have flexibility. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. There are many people, including myself, that if there's one thing I want from an employer, it's flexibility. I don't live to work. I don't wake up, it's like, oh, I want to go do work. Yeah, if it was a hobby or a side hustle to a passion project, that's one thing, right? But I don't wake up saying, oh, I'm very excited to slave away today. Like, that's not my mindset. I work to live. I have my side hustle. This video that I've created for you, this is my side hustle. This is something that I'm trying to push into a pipe dream. I would love to be able to speak in conferences and help people who essentially want to get to where I'm at and write books and do YouTube videos and create blog posts and coach people and help them become better versions of themselves. But again, if you are going to be an employer and you're trying to hire somebody, if you don't have flexibility in your company policy or procedure, you might as well just close up shop because no one's going to stick to you. Baby boomers are dying. The traditionalists are dying. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about how I came across the 2020 Workplace. If you are an avid reader, I highly recommend that if you don't like reading and you'd rather process stuff auditory than actually read it, then you should get an Alexa. Am I promoting the Alexa? Absolutely. I like this because I came across reading the 2020 Workplace from the Alexa app. Essentially, if you have a Prime membership and you can download Kindles onto your computer or onto your app, you can actually have Amazon Alexa read this to you while you're doing whatever it is that you want to do. I thought that was really interesting because I would listen early in the morning, put it just again when I'm very, very creative, and I would hear things. Well, one of the things is that you have to maintain that competitive edge over everybody else if you want to dominate your industry. So that was really, really cool. I highly recommend you get that Amazon Alexa app. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the 2020 Workplace. So we already know that if you want to maintain a competitive edge, you have to have a flexible program or flexible schedule for your workers. If you don't, eventually they're going to move on somewhere else. Now, flexibility doesn't mean like they come in one day and they leave one day. But now that we have 3-day weekends and there's a thing called flex time where someone can come in 8 to 12, have to go to the doctor till 2, and then they can come in at 2 and then finish up at like 8. That is flex time. That's something that's flexible. And of course, you have to work around with the schedule of everybody, but again, it's also tailored to the person's position there. And you can't do it with every position, especially for somebody who's a receptionist, but that's why it's your job to cross-train your employees if somebody's out. Somebody could die, somebody could get fired, somebody could quit, and then if you don't know what's going on in that particular position, then you're going to be a chicken with your head cut off trying to figure out where to go here. Let's talk about the 2020 Workplace. How do you attract the top talent of the industry? Do you use a recruiting company? Do you use a staffing company? Do you use ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, Indeed? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it matters on what the person has on themselves. A resume helps, yes. A degree helps, yes. But if they don't have soft skills, then you're destined to fail. That's why me, as a soft skills trainer, it's important to let people know that if you're very reserved, you're super smart, you're super analytical, but you're not innovative, or you're not open enough to be able to develop a learning magnetism from people. So you, as an employer, if you want to have A players, I would rather have you get a medium performing, very loyal prospect, as opposed to a very unloyal prospect, but they're high performing, because they're going to leave you high and dry because they're chasing after the wrong things. You want somebody who has that high level of loyalty. So going from here, what are the things that the 2020 workplace is telling us to tell you that you need for your business? Well, for starters, it also depends on what you have. I'm going to use a medical office, for example. If you're still using file folders to keep everything intact, that's why those particular offices are dying. Most of them are the traditionalists or baby boomers, where they're thinking old school and they don't like to use technology. You're going to want access to the latest technology because, again, as a millennial, I love learning about technology. It's in my blood. I've learned everything from the old school technology gaming devices to the new school. Now I have a PS4, but I still remember when I had a Super Nintendo. So again, I'm going to be very innovative to figure out new technology, new softwares, and new programs. That's step number one. Step number two is that if you are an employer, you're going to want to incorporate a work-life balance structure. That is your flexibility. You have to be flexible. If you don't have flexibility, regardless of your HR program, if the person that is in your HR department, whoever oversees it, is a baby boomer, or if they're a traditionalist or some Gen X, and they're very strict on you have to be here, well, again, that's why it's important for you to cross-train your employees. If you have accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, if you rotate them every month or every 2 months to maintain everything fresh, then if one of them's out, then they're both going to be able to cover that spot. You see what I'm saying? Another thing is that you're going to want diversity in the workplace. Way back when, obviously, when the Civil Rights Act was a big thing. I mean, it still is, don't get me wrong, but when the Civil Rights Movement was talking about, men and women, and then blacks and whites, and then Asians and Hispanics and all this stuff, diversity in the workplace, it's 2020. Like, we have to have diversity in the workplace. Right now, we are in an all-time high of different people. We have traditionalists, boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen I workers in the workforce. Like, it is insane. We have people who, like, from 17 all the way to 70. Like, it's completely insane. You have to make sure that if you want to maintain that competitive edge, you have to be able to have these accommodations. Traditionalists are going to be loyal to you to the end. Most iGen, shit, if you can make $200,000 a year working from just your laptop and you don't have to set up a brick and mortar business, well, I'm going to take that any day, because that means I don't have to physically go to work. You see what I'm saying? Now we're offering stuff like co-working programs where it's just like an office space where you're co-working with people who don't actually have an office. They just use an office space. So it's much better than a coffee shop. But what really maintains or brings in those top A players? What is it that they're looking for? Well, if I have to say this, a job description is nothing more than copywriting. So copywriting, meaning selling with words, it's about your brand, product, and the team. Your brand, the objective that you stand for, whatever it is that you stand for you serving someone else and not your pockets, Mr. Employer or Mrs. Employer, that is going to be key to attracting them, right? Your product is what's going to help you be able to attract people to innovate and develop that product, meaning that you're going to have happier customers, right? Because the more innovative you are, the more innovative people you bring in who are mid-performing but very loyal, that's how you're going to be able to keep them. Because now you have a team. Now you have that work culture. Now you have that competitive edge because people actually enjoy going to work. And it's all based on the fact that you have those flexibility, work-life balances, schedules. So that is essentially on how to maintain a competitive edge for 2020 and beyond. And so if you want to kick ass and dominate, if you're looking for any kind of soft skills trainer or consultant to help you, your business, or individually, make sure you check down the application down below. It's going to be in the link in the description or somewhere in the link of the bio. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't gotten the 2020 workplace and are looking for a deeper dive on how to maintain that competitive edge compared to just this video, then I will leave a link down below. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I am now LinkedIn, Tumblr, and Pinterest. I am also on TikTok. Until next time, guys, stay tuned. Take care.